It is on.
Consult not your fears, but your hopes and your dreams. Think not about your frustrations, but about your unfulfilled potential. Concern yourself not with what you have tried and failed in, but what is still possible to do. Now is the time to put aside the past and present setbacks and failures and look with confidence to a new day called tomorrow. God our Father, as we gather for this village council meeting, may we be guided by your wisdom, your love, and your spirit. For your wisdom teaches us about what is truly important and gives us the courage to do the right thing, even when no one else is watching. Your love reminds us that our compassion is not only for those we think deserving, but it is also for all of humankind. Your Spirit empowers us to recognize the ways in which we are blessed and to build a community characterized by hope, giving, and a spirit of service. As we enter this holiday season, may we all remember the true meaning of Christmas while we work together to assure that the Stryker Village will prosper and grow, pledging our commitment to providing the services our village residents have come to expect. We make this prayer through Christ our Lord. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Nice job. Roll call, please.
Sterling,
Yes.
Wise,
Yes.
Whalen,
Yes.
Whittick,
Yes.
Beck,
Yes.
Levens.
Yeah. All righty. Previous minutes.
Make a motion to accept the previous minutes as presented in our packets.
Second. Any discussion, corrections? Roll call again, please.
Wise,
Yes.
Whalen,
Yes.
Whittick,
Yes.
Beck,
Yes.
Levens,
Yes.
Sterling.
Yes.
All righty. Next is our finance report, and you'll also notice in your packet that Fiscal Officer Rediger left a brief note to talk about some of the things since she wouldn't be there. I would think that upon first looking at those numbers, you would go, oh my gosh, but realize that the majority of that is actually the loan payment, so when you take that out of there, it really doesn't look too bad. And we talked just a touch today. Does anyone have any questions about what they see? I probably won't be able to answer it, but I can try. Okay,
Really, I thought her explanation was good.
okay, good deal.
I'd like to move that we accept the treasurer's report, the financial report as printed.
Second that.
Whalen,
Yes.
oh,
No, you're fine. You go right
Whittick,
ahead.
Yes.
Beck,
Yes.
Levens,
Yes.
Sterling,
Yes.
Wise.
Yes. Communications?
I just had one on the compliments of the building and getting things going down again. So pass that along to you guys if you would.
Now, is gonna be pretty cool if this is our fastest meeting and this is my last one. I'll be, where was this for the last 4 years? Alrighty, committee reports. I don't believe we had any. Old business, EMS was brought up last meeting, and I know that Mr. St. John put in some of our previous stuff on that. I think you got a couple other things to add, right?
Yeah, well, I do. I put that in there, that, what I gave you was last year's report. So if you look at that, if I get myself here. This is what we as the advisory board received, is this report. This was last year, so I'll get one. In fact, this Thursday at 8:30, we're having the advisory board again, so the numbers will change and stuff, but what this is basically is, Life Squad 1 is Montpelier, you look at the numbers, and 2 is Bryan, and 3 is the office, where, you know, the girls or you know, Mr. Hicks himself will go. Medic 1 is the 217 one for last year is Edgerton, Medic 3 is Stryker, Medic 4 is no longer, but last year it was Eden, which Medic 5 and 6 are out, and Pioneer is Medic 7. So these numbers will change and will reflect that, as we saw with the financing, they showed us that, and on the agenda, I received a invitation from Mr. Phil Enning. He's actually the president, if you will, on it, of the hospital. And the advisory board, some people were asking who all was on it, is Commissioner Davis, John Papias, is it pronounced? The medical doctor. And then Marilyn Nussbaumer, Bart Rash, Michael Krill, myself, Bruce Siders, Deb Dye, Mike Boyer, Kyle Briggle, Connie Briggle, Jesse Brumbaugh, Kathy Kuhlman, Jim Hicks, and Ryan Wick. So that's the group. And we'll just get a call to order. They're going to discuss the presentation and discussion of EMS training activities, and then an update on the operations, which is what I gave you a copy of. So this would be a good opportunity with that I put in there. I gave you some ideas that we had, that we brainstormed back with Pete Lowe in the day. It was actually, 2009. I gave you a copy of that. Those were some of the things that were possible at that time and how he went about it. If you recall, Bob, I'm sure you were on it, because that was your era, wasn't it?
Yeah.
In '09. We also did a resolution that included, basically what we said was, to paraphrase it, that anybody that was on the fire department or with EMS services, excuse me, they were allowed to go on the village's dime, but they were not village employees when they left the building, if you will. And so we had to clarify that with the commissioners at the time and the director. So that kind of clarified it, at least on our end, for legal purposes. We also, and we can revisit that if the council wishes to. Like I say, I don't know a whole lot more once they get to the meeting to see just where they stand, but there was one other offer on the table, if you will, that we had talked about, and it wasn't really received well at that time with the director. But that was, we put the scenario together that if, say, you two are EMTs and you live in Bryan and you serve on the Bryan squad, but you're both going to end up spending the weekend or the Saturday cutting grandma's lawn or something like that, that you could sign on and keep Medic 3 running. You could do that, and for that, we would actually give a stipend to the employee if they wanted to come. Of course, the concern was, I think at the time, is that everybody, because the issue is, if you're on call, you only get paid when you get called. And so, you take out your weekend to stay home, and then you don't get called, and you could have been doing something else. You could have been over to grandma's cutting their lawn. So if they do have a reason to come, and we never came up with a dollar amount or anything of that, that was thrown out there, and nobody ran with it, but that was another option besides what Pete had put together, what he thought. So if you have any suggestions that you'd like me to take to the board Thursday, I'd be glad to.
In '09, we had a different director than we.
I believe we did.
Yeah. And we may have more cooperation now. I'd be curious to see if something like this would work now. This-
Oh, the actual proposal portion, what Pete put together.
Well, like what Pete suggested, where we have a method of paying above and beyond, or maybe even if it was a call time where somebody, if you only get paid per call, if we said there'll be a minimum amount. Some places that I'm familiar with that have people on call will pay a minimum call time, even if you never get called out, just to cover that. I don't know if you want to call it an inconvenience or the fact that you're tied up, you're giving up your time to be available. That in itself should be worth something.
Right, and that was our big promotion on that end of it. And what I can do, guys, is I'll go ahead and make copies for these folks, again, you know, and then just let them brief look it over, and then see where they stand. And things change because we meet once a year, as required by law.
Yeah.
And you have to have an advisory board.
I mean, we wouldn't have to necessarily look at something verbatim like it was in
No,
'09,
correct.
but something
Exactly.
along this line. Or see if they're open. Would they even, yeah, I guess we'd have to have their blessing, wouldn't it? Or would it?
Definitely. Yeah, this is the blessing group.
Yeah, okay.
Mr. Hicks naturally is the day-to-day, he takes care of everything, but,
But the, you know, we've lost maybe 5, maybe 6. Which one else? Medic 4, you say? is now? 7 has been done. I'm surprised to see that this only says 6 runs for Medic 7, but that was 2014 numbers.
yeah. Now I'll get 2015 in December, you know, what happened this year.
Okay, I'm thinking 7, since they skirt the border, I think they crossed the border into Michigan as needed.
And didn't they incorporate the fire department too, on the first responders
Yeah.
on a big way, I believe?
Yeah, they've come together pretty well up there. I'm sure everybody's aware if we lose Medic 3 that you're looking, you might be lucky if you get somebody here in 10 minutes. If the life squad's already out, you're gonna be waiting a lot longer.
Kenny is going to be running basically in Peggy's place as a first responder because the other one is going to Archville.
Okay.
So,
So we will still have 2 first responders. And we did talk to Jim Hicks, and Alan can run by himself too. You know, before we always had to have 2 people. And I guess now we don't.
Okay.
you can't move to squad or anything, but you can
Yeah,
go
but
as a
first
First responder.
And we're staffed, law enforcement's 24/7, and they are first responders.
We respond to every medical,
Yeah. So that gives Alan.
for the most part.
Alan knows somebody else is gonna
Yeah.
be there. So that's comforting.
Of course, their scope of practice is limited, and the police department is even more limited, but it's still, I asked Steve just the other day how we were as far as up-to-date defibrillators and stuff, because they can use those. And I remember way back in the day, early Merlin days, he took donations to get them, you know. In fact, I remember donating to get one, but they only last like 5 years or something.
Yeah, the ones that the EMS units take care of, I remember at chief's meetings where Jim says that they have issues trying to keep up with pads and battery packs, so evidently they've got age to them.
Right.
And there's an issue with the consumables being, replenished.
So that's kind of where we're at, so I gave you guys the information as promised, and we'll have more information after the meeting, you know.
Okay.
The nice part about the new AEDs is even if you've never seen one before, you open it up and it starts talking to you and telling you how to do things.
You can
So,
run those.
Yeah, so those are great. Is there any old business that we couldn't think of to list? No? Okay. That brings us to legislation, and will need to be passed as a emergency possible.
Well, I'll just entertain a motion to declare an emergency for ordinance 2015-10.
Bob loves it.
Next.
Mr. Sperling and then seconded by Mr. Blevins. Roll call.
Whitty,
Yes.
Beck,
Yes.
Levin.
Yeah.
Sterling,
Yes.
Wise,
Yes.
Wheel.
Yes.
Making the motion to pass ordinance number 2015-10.
I'll second that motion.
Roll call, please.
Beck,
Yes.
Levin,
Yes.
Sterling,
Yes.
Wise,
Yes.
Wheeling,
Yes.
Whitty.
Yes.
Charlie or something.
Yes.
Yes.
And if you have any questions,
She's done a breakdown.
this is the line item by line item breakdown down, and this is the supplemental in a different form. If you have any questions, if you don't, which you've already passed it, so you're good to go. That brings us to the administrator's report.
Well, as you guys probably saw, most of the leaves are picked up.
Mhm.
They finished today. We let it go another week because the weather was nice and we knew we weren't gonna be behind with this snow, we assumed so. So that's finished. And that being said, I'm sure there's gonna be, with this beautiful weather, a pile or two to go get, but technically it's officially over, because we do need to get things around. We're putting some new tires on the truck and getting ready for winter. If you recall last month, 3 weeks ago, I guess it was, we were hauling loads of brush out, and then we had one of the workers who came down sick, so I asked Jeff to come in, and we actually hauled 6 dump truck loads out of there, so quite a bit. We backfilled and seeded all the sidewalks. I personally did on that. I did a bunch of sewer locates this month for some reason. In fact, I did one this morning. We had to work on the backhoe a little bit. We did set up one truck with, since we last met, with the salt and spreader and the plow, and we did have a little bit of snow, and pretty much melted off, even in the alleys, you know, but that was good. We had to rebuild our salt spreader as we were going through them, and the guys did a really good job. They had to put all new bearings in it and everything else, and tore it all apart and put it back together, and they tested it and actually worked, so we're good to go on that, and as soon as we take the leaf box off, we'll put that on. We had some issues with some wiring on our truck, and guys tracked it down and they were able to rewire it, so good to go again on the 1 ton. And besides helping the team, because, well, Alan was on vacation for a little over a week, which he had scheduled back in, last summer. He took his daughter for graduation, trip to see his sister in Puerto Rico. So we were short a guy, and then Mike had to do some lab work and testing and whatnot, so we were kind of understaffed. But besides helping the team, I've hopefully finished the final paperwork on the A. Schumann building, sent out letters and stuff like that with our letterheads on them and stuff. So it appears that things are going on schedule, or it looks promising without really knowing a lot. And I've done some confidential research on other matters in that time frame in the last few weeks. So one of the things that Councilman Whittick asked me in the last meeting was why we didn't have, what do we have in the future as far as equipment and maintaining it and things like that. So I jotted down a few future projects and purchases that I'd like to do, just so it can be in the back of your mind. Some of you will recall, we've got a water line that goes underneath the railroad, And we put a double valve in and isolated that. And again, it's not a panic, but it's something that we have to keep in our minds that when we have capital monies, that is something that we naturally want to take care of. We got estimates on stuff, but it's relatively expensive, and for the sake of the budget, since we do have two more, now if one of those go down, then we'll get nervous, you know, and we'll want to fix it naturally. So that's it. There's 3 drainage projects I'd really like to see get finished here, again, in the relatively near future. The Curtis Street that I spoke with you, I think, last month, that would be a relatively easy fix. Just getting with the people and shooting some grade, where we talked that there was an easement that goes down through there. You know, we could hook that in easy enough. The Johnson Avenue issue that floods, we had talked briefly here this past summer when we had the big floods, if you recall. Looking at the plans again, if we would go into the Whitaker property and pull off that big basin, we could run a bigger tile, you do remember? And then we could take it all the way to the creek. Again, kind of a capital project, but it would relieve that bottleneck tremendously, you know. I believe that would solve the problem. And then Chase Street, you know where it kind of goes, has the dip in there, we put a crossover in on our own, but they're still having some issues because on the upper reach, it's overpowering the basin and flooding out. What we could actually do, and I would advocate just doing it on our own, we didn't have an issue with the county before, is tie into that water line there, put a riser up, and put a second crossover to take care of that, and then there wouldn't be any issue. But again, a capital improvement. Johnson Avenue has a 4-inch main. It's the last of the Mohicans, if you will. Relatively short draw. I would advocate our employees putting it in themselves. We would just strictly upsize it, take it over to like Denny Bell or something and say, stamp this please, you know, and do everything ourselves, the inspection, because.
Where does that one become village? Because I know some of that is county.
You're back in the drainage now, right? Not the water line, okay. It's all county,
Oh, okay.
but we can tie in from that basin. We have that right through the Ohio Revised Code 6131 that says that we are entitled to, so we'd have to get an easement from Martha to do that, you know, and then take it right along and an easement through Jenny's and then through the park board. But all doable, you know, and you can use, like I say, you're not gonna use village forces on that one, because that's gonna be a big deal there, but you could do a large wheel trencher or something like that, you know, and come in there and take care of it. And, we could shoot the grade, we could set the grade stakes and all that. I mean, we're capable, if we do it this summer anyways, while I'm still here, but after, you know, I don't think it'd be a big engineering project on that one. The water line, that's, you know, we need to get that approved through EPA, just, it's cookie cutter, but, you know, when you do that, when you're upsizing, they wanna know, and, you know, you gotta hook up the taps, and, you know, it's not cake. I have a list of street resurfacing that we'd like to see done. I tell you the truth, I like some of the slurry seals. It saves the roads, and I know that a lot of people aren't in favor. We had a real bad experience with the chip and seal, but are you folks familiar with Road Street going out of town towards Archibald? Have you traveled that much? Now that's all chip and seal, and they use 9s and rolled off on it, and it looks like brand new pavement to me. You know,
It does. Ours comes out today.
I think our side streets, now Brian does it, West Unity has done it, you know, I mean, a lot, we don't do it, I mean, I know, but we can do the entire town for what we can do 10 miles for what we can do 1 mile.
Wasn't our issue large stone and it was really overstoned? Way
Well-
too much stone?
It was just a disaster, not a good job.
It wasn't good.
We wouldn't necessarily have to hire the same folks again.
Right.
Or maybe they've got.
The road strip doesn't seem.
Well, yeah, the problem was it was dirty,
Right.
it was cold, nothing worked out, right, you know, and they didn't get paid, neither, by the way,
Oh, okay.
not a dime.
No,
You
I
know,
wasn't,
they-
I wasn't.
no.
I know they came back and tried to scoop up some of the stone, but.
Right, yeah, no, they didn't get paid a dime,
Okay.
so,
That's
but
comforting.
I suffered dearly, I'll tell you, you know, I put the donkey ears on that one. And that should have been a prime one because there's a lot of traffic, so it should have, like this road here, it should have looked perfect, but it just didn't work out. You need wash stone, they were told it was washed, but it was dusty, I mean, you recall, it was
It's terrible.
I don't think one bad experience is a reason not to try it again.
No, I'm still a proponent of it just because of the cost.
Yeah.
You know, and what we can do with it, because there's all the cracks and stuff, you know, that covers all that. It just covers a multitude of sins in your pavement, and the worst thing for any pavement is water, you know, period.
Mhm.
Water is the number one. I remember talking to the road engineers in the county, and it's water, and then it's water, and then, oh, yeah, they tell you it's water.
Well, and knowing how well Road Street turned out,
Yeah.
I wouldn't be.
Yeah, I mean,
afraid to try
that's what they did.
I wouldn't be afraid to try that.
Okay, maybe we'll try a stretch of, I want to sludge judge this summer, the lagoons, just to see how they're coming. It's been a couple years. We were in good shape, but I want to make sure we don't get behind ourselves, because if you do the dewatering, I have no idea what that costs, but I can only envision it's not cheap. So, you know, we want to make sure that whatever that future brings. Now, as far as purchases and things, you know, we got to talking, me and the guys, about the leaf vac, and we don't think that we can buy, that we're aware of, any better vac design than what Wes has created. But, like you were saying, Rick, the motor could go, we're toast. And the more we got to thinking about that, we probably should, if we can find a replacement motor, you know, crate motor, if you will, to buy one and store it so we can change it out and don't get caught, you know, behind the 8 ball. The blower has been the fan part of it. It's a Roots blower, but it has a big, like a turbine, well, it looks like a giant flywheel, if you can envision. And we had Jason rebuild that because that was all chipped up and, you know, it was kind of wobbling, and we had to put a bearing in and so on. So I think we're pretty good shape in that. And Roots blowers, you can still, you know, you can go buy them right through Granger. But that motor, you could be down, like you said, and, you know, yeah, you can get contractors, but, so I'd like to, you know, in the future for capital to get something like that. I don't know what something, I think that's an old cast iron, 20 horse, might be a 22 and a Kohler.
You think it's a Kohler?
Oh, I know it is, I rebuilt it, yeah. I'm positive of that. And it's been a long time since I was a Kohler dealer, but those guys, you know, I'm sure you could find the exact engine.
How many cylinders?
Let me see.
2 or 4?
Two.
So I'm gonna do some checking on that, and our backhoe is gonna be need to replace, we don't need a new one, but it'd be good if we probably, in the future purchases, get a better one. The transmission, I call it the Tecumseh Lope because I used to work on Tecumseh transmissions, but it's kind of loping along, and we've had it in and we've had it rebuilt. And the guy told us, you know, it's not gonna last forever. So again, we're getting by with it, but that's probably the most immediate, is the transmission on that.
Who do you deal with on that?
Car,
Pardon? Car?
you know, it's a car tractor. The people at, oh, what's their name? It's in Ridgeville.
Bex.
Okay,
I think it's Bex, but Ridgeville, yeah.
yeah, that's who rebuilt it.
Okay.
So, and that's it. You know.
What's our salt supply look like for the year?
I called the man and we're good to go. We got all we want. And we're only gonna use it again as an as-needed basis. Last year it only cost us $750. This year we still got salt, so I told him I'm good. And we didn't even have to pay to hold it and store it, so, yeah. I think that's the best deal going, personally. I mean, we don't, everybody else locks in, but you have to take 80% of that, whether you use it or not. And with the warm forecast, hopefully, we won't, but I did call them and make sure that, hey, we're still good with this, right, before, and we are, so. One little thing that's really more for Terry and Dan, who has kept abreast to it, but you guys recall that drainage over where Harley was complaining
Yeah, yeah.
and stuff like that?
Yes,
Well, this
yes.
is the end of it this morning, and what we have, why it's staying open is another West creation, but he put a basin in. That's all just caved in a hole, so that it's doing the job. Otherwise, that would all have been plugged into the tile again. So
Cool, good, thank you.
and it appears to be working. So
Well, you're neck of the woods.
that's all I have. Open for questions.
Down by the railroad.
Down by the railroad, back in there.
Souders property.
Any questions for Administrator St. John?
Good, thanks.
Elected officials?
Good evening, gentlemen. We had a pretty rough month.
I see that.
There's no rabid raccoons or
No.
Goats?
No goat herding, no rabid raccoons. So yeah, 38 total reports, 17 warnings, and no citations, and 2 adult arrests. I just want to kind of keep you, or get you up to breast on our canine situation. Reagan is, I think, she's getting close to the end of her tour. She's been having a lot of seizures lately. Several lipomas removed from around her heart and things like that. But we do have Titan in training right now. Not quite going quite the way Steve wants him, he's not quite where he wants him to be. He's thinking about switching trainers. But it's kind of like one of those, if you get what you pay for, and he's not being paid that much.
Yeah.
If anything, the trainer is doing it pretty much on his spare time, getting Titan up to speed. But I guess his narcotic work is actually quite well. His bite work is phenomenal. We actually have a video of Titan actually jumping over a car, like the hood of a car, to get to a subject who has the bite sleeve on. But his tracking work is, I guess, close to horrible. So he's got to work on his tracking skills before he gets even close to being put in service. So, but Steve, I think, has found another trainer that's willing to work with him a little bit more, especially with the tracking. And he's just going to kind of play that by ear and see how that goes. Steve was able to commandeer an actual aluminum insert for the 06 Charger. So we'll actually have a legitimate dog cage within his vehicle. He's going to be picking that up, I believe, this weekend.
He also was able to find a really nice bike suit that he's gonna purchase that I think it's like less than $200. That tells you anything, Mayor? And it's like brand new.
Yeah, that tells me a lot.
And so, but I guess it's good quality. So, but yeah, they're pretty
They
expensive.
are very salty.
Yeah, but you know, I think he's got to drive over to Cleveland or something like that. And I think he's actually going to pick up both the aluminum insert and the bike sleeve because they're pretty close proximities to the same area. So he's going to be picking that stuff up this weekend, and so yeah, we're looking forward to getting him up and running. Again, you know, we base all of Steve's budget is off of donations that we typically solicit for, and so yeah, I mean, nothing other than, you know, the fuel to go pick those items up is what we're spending on the canines. So I'm going to transition into vehicles themselves. We did have a blown head gasket on the 2011, which was covered under warranty with the drivetrain warranty. So we got that back. I guess it would probably been on Friday. So, but that's running a lot better. It was overheating, and obviously that's what they that we took it in and had a blown head gasket. So shaved the heads and got it back together, so everything's good on that. Cops with Kids is this weekend. Is everybody familiar with Cops with Kids? So basically, you know, we just give $100. It's a select 75, 80 kids from the county. FOP gives them $100 per child, and we take them shopping in Walmart and have a big pizza party afterwards at the Wesley United Methodist Church. Great time. So other than that, you know, not a whole lot else going on as far as what's going on internally.
Sounds good. Any questions for Chief Slasher?
Actually, Chief, I wouldn't mind seeing a little bit of a breakdown of what is spent on the canine. I know that we as a village don't spend nearly what I think is enough. It might be good to let the new council come in and see what's being spent.
Really, it just depends on what we receive in donations. I believe,
Or I should say spent or needed.
Or needed.
okay, well, those are two distinctly
Yeah,
different numbers.
Absolutely.
Definitely a different.
Well,
Because I know with the canine that we currently have, I mean, it's been a huge asset. There was a little bit of concern originally when you first brought that to us, but I think it's well worth having the canine here. So if we're looking at getting this other one up to speed, it would be nice to know, since the other one health is starting to fail a little bit, or, you know, coming to the end of its tour, to find out what we need to do to get this other one going. Maybe that's something that the new council can look at.
Well, Reagan's gotta be, what, 10?
yeah.
I was gonna say 9 or 10.
Yeah, because I think she was like 5 when Steve and I first went and looked at her. And that's-
She may have even been older than that. I'm thinking she's either 10 or 11.
Yeah, so she's definitely.
She's
a-
done well.
She's, yeah.
Yeah, she's a great dog. And she still has the drive to go out and work. It's just, you know, she'll get to a point where she'll just lay down and start seizing up a little bit. So obviously it's a concern.
Yeah,
Sure,
absolutely.
sure.
Absolutely.
Don't want to burn through that.
But it might be something that we can
Yeah.
start looking at doing.
All right.
Alrighty, that brings us to other. I've got a couple of things, but does anyone have anything before that? All right.
Not right now.
Okay, first and foremost, and it's my error, it's my miscommunication of what I was requesting, so I didn't get it nearly in time. I would like to take this time to publicly thank Peggy for her service. As we all know, she is getting ready to retire soon, and I had something planned, but I do not have it tonight because I didn't think you were going to be here. And so I feel bad about that, but again, I would like to publicly thank you for everything you've done for the Village of Stryker, everything you've done for the council, and there have been a gazillion times you helped me with something, no matter what side of this building I've been on. So thank you very much, and hope you enjoy the beach.
Yeah,
I plan on it. Get packed and ready.
okay.
All right. Also, today, as most of us probably know, is Pearl Harbor Day, and I thought maybe Mr. Whittick would like to say something in regards to Pearl Harbor.
Well, it's just a memory for, obviously, I wasn't, and none of us veterans are here, but it was quite a moment that we went through in our country, and it just seems like that's not the one to forget, so.
Yeah.
Because maybe Vietnam was not the best. Pearl Harbor was a sad day for America.
Okay, thank you very much. All right, and if there's nothing else, I would like to have a motion to move into executive session.
And I would like to make that motion for executive session this evening. And for a change, it should be a very positive reason this evening.
Oh, you want-
This is gonna be a long, lengthy pause. Joey's got it.
And for the newspaper, do you have an agenda?
I do.
Okay, the reasoning is listed there,
Yeah.
so you know what we're doing.
Roll call, please.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Blevins,
Yes.
Erling,
Yes.
Wise,
Yes.
Whalen,
Yes.
Whittick,
Yes?
Beck.
Yes.
Will we be taking any action?
No,
Did you want to, you want these guys included?
yes, please.
Okay.
All but Peggy.
Right.
We're not gonna be taking any action, so that's why we placed this here for you. If you have any questions, we'd be glad to field them if it's all self-explanatory.
I hoped you understood why I wasn't.
Yeah, I didn't know that, you know, but,
Yeah, no, I know, and I forgot all about it.
yeah, not a problem.
Obviously.
All right, well, kind of in the same vein that we have been, I'd like to take time to address the Stryker Village residents, this council, and those who have helped fulfill my commitment as mayor, and to take this final moment to say thank you for allowing me the opportunity to serve over the last 4 years. It truly has been an honor and a privilege to serve, and I definitely grown as a person because of this experience. Also, it's always been my goal to leave any organization that I've been a part of better than when I arrived. And for a time there, I thought that wasn't going to happen. But I believe with the passage of the reallocation measure, with the growth that we're seeing at Sodders, with the potential that we may see with the sale of Ales H. Schulman's, today I think that goal's going to be accomplished, and I'm kind of proud of that. So, in closing, I'd simply like to say thank you, good luck in the future to you, and God bless.
Thank you. And I think, Mayor, you and I talked at the last meeting, out of respect for you in the position and going out, you asked about swearing in, where it was my choice. And with that, out of respect to you, I'm going to have you do that.
I appreciate that.
So sometime this month, we'll get that meeting.
Yeah, absolutely.
You'll swear in 3 months. First meeting in January.
Yeah,
correct?
correct.
Okay.
You have.
Just to ask you, Gary, you're still in line with what we discussed in the finance committee?
Yes. Yep, I have all the paper, have had it since last meeting. It was requested of me.
I thought you did, I just wanted.
Yeah, no, it's right here.
Thank you.
Then you're set for vacation coming up?
Yes, yes.
And I'd like to say
Peggy
too.
leaves, I'm
Sorry.
gonna go with her.
Okay.
I'd already spoke to her.
Yep.
I'd like to say to Peggy, thanks for a heck of a job you've done over the years. We really appreciate it. Appreciate you stepping up to the plate, helping out here. Dan, same with you. Thank you very much. It's been fun.
I didn't mean to ignore you, I did not know you were still here.
Back in?
So I thank you too. Everything you've done.
I miss everybody.
Well, but you'll enjoy your retirement.
Yeah.
Try.
Do.
Yeah, that's the hardest thing, I think, on the retirement, is missing the people that you work with.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah,
Saving
it
the
is.
spit cups for Steve, you know, whatever. you
No, I
know.
told him I'm still gonna do that.
Oh, yeah, okay.
And don't forget
I hope my wife's
the
not watching this.
village
Oh,
Christmas
yeah.
party
Don't forget
coming
the
up
party.
on Saturday. What time does it start?
5:30.
Right.
5:30.
Either.
That list.
I think we have, what, 42, 43?
In there.
Oh, yeah. That's
Good turn.
Springfield. Cool.
I will be thinking of all of you as I drink a non-alcoholic drink on the beach. Well, at least one.
One alcoholic, okay. I can live with that. Oh, that's, for those of you who weren't here, Rob got his kidney transplant, doing well. He came home Saturday and is coming along pretty well. He's got some levels that have to balance out and this sort of thing, which will take some time, but otherwise doing well. A couple of big cries by mom and dad when we got it. That was a big relief. Then there was the day they called and said, looks like my rejecting, and that was another not too good a day for mom and dad. But so far this is looking good, so appreciate all the prayers and what have you that everybody's done, and I really enjoy it. But we did have an issue with him because I gave him the devil the day that Michigan State and Ohio State played. He was having dialysis, and we had to try to find something to do in the TV to watch. And then he was there for the team up north. He was there for that game yet. I said, what? First off, they said, we think we'll release him about noon. I said, oh no, I'm not driving. So
Priorities.
anyway, yeah, you can try. So anyway, thank you very much. Appreciate it. That it?
Happy holidays, everybody.
Merry Christmas.
I move with you.
I'm betting everybody else is saying.
Second.
Tracy said.
Tracy's got that one. Let Tracy have the easy
He's
one.
got this. No.
No. Yeah,
No, I don't.
I mean, you won't get it, man. Let's put that.